Hello, guys. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm going to be talking about attachment styles. This is based off of a book I read called Attached. It says, "Are you anxious, avoidant, or secure? How the science of adult attachment can help you find and keep love." And this is by Dr. Levine, Miss Rachel S.F. Heller, if you will. So let's go ahead and get started because this is going to be an interesting topic for today. Before I get started, though, I just have to say I'm literally recording this the day before I'm supposed to be posting it. I was hoping that I was going to get better, but I have been struggling. I have been sick since like Christmas Eve. No, not Christmas Eve. Oh my God. New Year's Eve. Sorry. And I also have a dog with me. Sadie Butt, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. You can't see her, but if I just. Sadie, say hi. Sadie, come here. Come here. No, she won't do it. Hi. She is going to stare out the window and stare at the little rodent creatures that go on the trees. I'm not going to say the name because she is a beagle, so she would go sicko mode all over that. But she's accompanying me today in my little apartment. My girlfriend is in my bedroom sleeping, taking a nice little nappy nap. Sadie just went back on her little bed. Sadie, you can go back on your bed. Or you could people watch. By all means, I'll be right here. She's like right underneath me. Hi. She is sitting at my feet. She is so cute. Okay. Anyway, I really want to get in today's episode because this book has really made me think about my life and how I treat other people, how my attachment style changes my relationships, my friendships, everything. But before I get into it, again, I have been sick since New Year's Eve and I am really, really struggling. I've been wanting to record podcast episodes like crazy. I've literally put together podcast episodes for like the next 10, but when it comes to recording my voice, I'm like coughing. I'm just like not having a good time. I'm not feeling well at all. But um, obviously, all of my previous episodes were pre-recorded because I wanted enough episodes so that I could enjoy my time when I went to go visit my mom. And then afterwards, Larissa and I went to New Orleans, and then we went to Las Vegas. And it was all really, really fun. I definitely loved it. But I have just been so sick as a dog, as they say. And I'm really struggling. I'm trying my hardest to at least get one good episode out. I actually did record episode 22, which is going to be the episode after this, in Las Vegas. And I am so pissed off because the Wi-Fi wasn't good. So I record on an online platform called Riverside. And when the internet connection is wonky, it won't catch everything. So I recorded like a solid hour episode and I had all my notes and everything. And I think I got maybe a total of 30 minutes, if that. It like gets separated into two parts. And like that's all I ended up getting. Granted, I should have known because hotel Wi-Fi is never that great. So recording in the comfort of my own home today, I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly with recording and I can just kind of bang it all out. But that forewarning, my voice is going to be a lot different. I'm really struggling today. I'm so sorry. I literally have water and a nice iced latte in front of me. It is producing a lot of condensation. Is that the correct term? I'm just going to go with it. I'm so dead. I can't even think of the correct terminology. So I wrapped a paper towel around my latte. And I've got the most beautiful, pretty dog right next to me. Hey, Sadie girl. So I am ready for this episode. I could not even tell you that I had such an insecure attachment style before reading this book, or even what my attachment style was like. So it is just phenomenal. All right, let's get started. Sadie girl. I think she sees a prey animal. Sadie girl. All right, let's get started. So there are 3 main attachment styles: secure, anxious, and avoidant. Secure people feel comfortable with intimacy and are usually warm and loving. Anxious people crave intimacy and are often preoccupied with their relationships and tend to worry about their partner's ability to love them back. Avoidant attachment style. Avoidant people equate intimacy with a loss of independence and constantly try to minimize closeness. These 3 main attachment styles differ in so many ways, including their view of intimacy and togetherness, the way they deal with conflict, their attitude towards sex, their ability to communicate their wishes and needs, their expectations from their partner, and the relationship. So these attachment styles, secure is obviously the best attachment style, if you will, and they usually can go really well with an anxiously attached person, for the sheer fact that anxious people need a lot of constant reassurance, and secure people are so willing to give that to an anxious person, or anyone really. Secure people are able to give a lot of outside reassurance, love freely, because it's just something that they are able to give, and they're able to comprehend. They have good communication. So they usually say that an anxious person can partner with a secure person. However, an anxious person cannot do well with an avoidant person, because an avoidant attachment style is completely the opposite, where I think I'll get into it, but basically the anxious attachment style, they're seeking closeness, so they're going to chase, whereas the avoidant, they don't do well with it, so they'll back up. So it's basically like pushing, just like that. It's not going to do you any good, right? Sadie is right on this table, so she might be shaking it a little bit, but that's okay. So over 50% of people are secure. Around 20% of people are anxious, and 25% of people are avoidant. Then the remaining 3 to 5% fall into a fourth, less common category, which is a combination of anxious and avoidant, which is also known as a fearful avoidant. So I find that interesting. I always had no idea what my attachment style was. And honestly, when I took the quiz, if I'm not mistaken, I ended up coming up as secure. Okay, so I added up all of my columns. So column A was 8, which is an anxious attachment style. Column B, which was secure, I had 11. And column C, which was avoidant, I had 3. So I definitely took this quiz with Larissa in mind. And I feel like had I not, I would have had a much different answer, because in the past, I was very, very avoidant in my tendencies. So I'm questioning my quiz, and I probably might end up even retaking it just to kind of see like what my attachment style is truly like. But as far as I am concerned, uh I think I'm avoidant, but we'll get into that. All right. So, although it is not impossible to change somebody's attachment style, um, on average, 1 to 4 people do so over a 4 year period. So, 1 in 4 people change their attachment style over a 4 year period. Most people are unaware of the issues within their attachment style. So, those changes happen without them ever even knowing that they've occurred or even why. Which I find this very, very interesting because I fully believe that having the right partner can also change your attachment style. So let's say maybe you're avoidant, maybe you're anxious, maybe you're an anxious avoidant, and you are with somebody secure and they kind of love you to this point where your insecure attachment style starts to go away because they are freely giving you love. They're freely giving you affection. They're freely giving you that like reassurance, um, compliments, all that jazz, right? Secure people are able to freely give love out and not expect anything in return either, and they feel so comfortable and confident in doing so because that's what they expect back, and they don't think that their partner's intentions are ever wrong. Let's say like I hurt my partner and they're a secure partner, they're gonna understand where I'm coming from, and they're also going to excuse, not excuse the way that I hurt them, but like they're gonna know that it wasn't on purpose because they believe that I have good intentions. So that's kind of like what the secure attachment style is they're like, okay, my partner's not out to get me, they're not going to cheat on me, like they are here to love me. So it's really nice to date somebody or even have a secure attachment style because they're just so secure in themselves and with their partner that they don't really question the relationship much. And that is why I'm like, are we sure I have a secure attachment style? Because I don't feel like I do. Um, but again, I will probably go through that quiz at a later time. I feel like it's too much to fit into one episode, but I would love to do the quiz. So maybe I'll do a bonus episode with the quiz, but we'll see. All right. People with a secure attachment style know how to communicate their own expectations and respond to their partner's needs effectively without resorting to what is coined as protest behavior. So, protest behavior is the reaction to being detached from an attachment figure, such as a family member, a friend, or romantic partner. This can be shown in the form of being frantic, searching wildly, crying uncontrollably. Obviously, it's not limited to these things, but those are just some common examples that were exhibited in earlier times, or like when we were younger as a child. Let's say your parent leaves you in line at the grocery store. You're like, okay, like, where are you? Where did you go? Like, you're searching frantically, you're freaking out, you have some fear and anxiety. That's kind of like a good example that I could give you from being separated from your attachment figure. So we earliest see that in a mother daughter, mother son, or mother child, or father son, father. daughter, father, child. Or I could just simply say parent child, to break it down even simpler. So a parent child relationship is where we see it most commonly, or not most commonly, but early on. All right. Protest behavior as adults or teenagers in this day and age can look like consistent calling or texting, and it's usually triggered when the other person comes off as difficult to reach. So, protest behavior, let's say someone's being avoidant, or maybe they are working, maybe they're not being avoidant, maybe they're just simply working. Um, and they're in a meeting and they can't answer their phone. The person who is doing protest behavior, if they don't answer the first time, they're going to keep calling, keep texting. They're going to have this kind of negative feedback loop where they're like, okay, what is my partner doing? What is going on? Why can't I reach them? And they're going to freak out about it because they're like, okay, well, like, I don't know what's going on. So, like, I need to know. Um, Note that attachment principles teach us that most people are only as needy as their unmet needs. So I find this part most interesting, because when our emotional needs are met, they turn our attention outward, which is referred to as the dependency paradox. This means that the more effectively dependent people are on one another, the more independent and daring they are as a person. So I find that very, very interesting, because what it's basically saying is if our emotional needs are met and our attachment style, let's say we have an insecure attachment style, if that is being calmed and suppressed by a loving and affectionate and attentive partner, that allows us to be kind of like our best self in terms of being more independent, wanting to do more, explore, being daring, being adventurous, going outward, and just like having fun, really. Um, so I guess that's why I kind of like that, because I feel like when I took the quiz, because I was keeping Larissa in mind, I realized that my needs with her are being met. Whereas if I were to just kind of retake this quiz with nobody in mind and just really, really think about the deep rooted issues that I have and all of my past relationships, my attachment style might look more anxious avoidant, for the sheer fact that if I don't feel like my needs are being met, then my protest behavior is going to come out. Any sort of um oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Just habits that I have, right? If I have anxious habits or avoidant habits, those are going to come into play because my needs aren't being met. In terms of feeling loved, feeling affection, feeling loved, feeling like my attachment is secure. Okay, so reading into this book, I realized that they stated experiments that took place in order to determine attachment and dependency on others at various ages. And the conclusion is that dependency is a fact, not a choice or a preference. So, on married couples, for example, they tested response to stress when they were alone, when they were with a stranger, and when they were with their significant other. And I just found this very, very interesting, this test, because What it ultimately showed is that when two people form an intimate relationship, they actually can regulate each other's psychological and emotional well being, and that their physical proximity and availability influences the stress response. So, I don't know. I guess I found that very interesting that we all crave dependency. Dependency is not a bad thing. We always say, oh, they're codependent. Like, no, we're all low key dependent if you really think about it. It just depends on your attachment style. So maybe those that come off more standoffish, or like they don't need anybody, or they're just very like independent, they're actually an avoidant attachment style. So I strongly suggest picking up this book if you have any questions, or you want to get to know your attachment style, or you want to understand your significant other's attachment style, or you're heading out into the dating world and you want to make sure you're dating the right people for your attachment style. Very, very, very good. And they come with, I don't want to say real life examples because I'm not sure, but these examples are good enough for you to kind of understand what you're looking for, because an attachment style comes in all shapes and sizes. Like, it's not just the women who are anxious and it's not just the men who are avoidant. You can't put those into categories, you know? And it's not just the nerdy or high end people that are secure. Like, no, it's very much, you never know what you're going to get in a body. They could be anxious, they could be avoidant, they could be a mixture, they could be secure, and you don't know what that's going to look like. You don't know who is going to fit into what. Um, but to break down the attachment styles, there are different examples of behaviors and patterns of each attachment style. So I actually wrote down that is on page 65 here. And I'm going to go ahead and read them off so that we can kind of give you guys an idea of attachment styles. So this is called like their cheat sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and read off each attachment style and all of their um, little traits and habits and behaviors, if you will. So secure, let's start with that because that's the most simple, kind of like our baseline of what we're going for here. So a secure attachment style is reliable and consistent. They make decisions with you. They have a flexible view of relationships. They communicate relationship issues well. They can reach compromise during arguments. They are not afraid of commitment or dependency. They don't view the relationship as hard work. Closeness creates further closeness. Introduces friends and family early on. Naturally expresses feelings for you and does not play games. The avoidant attachment style. They send mixed signals. They value their independence greatly. They devalue you, or they devalue previous partners. They use distancing strategies, emotional or physical. They emphasize boundaries in the relationship. They have an unrealistically romantic view of how a relationship should be. They are mistrustful and fear being taken advantage of by their partner. They have a rigid view of relationships and uncompromising rules. During a disagreement, they sometimes need to get away or they explode. They don't make their intentions clear, and they have difficulty talking about what's going on between you and them in the relationship. Okay, last one, anxious. Anxious people want a lot of closeness in the relationship. They express insecurities and they worry about rejection or fear rejection. They are unhappy when they are not in a relationship. They play games to keep your attention and interest. They have difficulty explaining what's bothering them, and they expect you to guess. They act out. They have a hard time not making things about them in the relationship. They let you set the tone of the relationship. They are preoccupied with the relationship. They fear that small acts will ruin the relationship and believe that they must work hard in order to keep your interest. And they are suspicious that you may be unfaithful. So here's some golden rules that um, the book gives you to determining your partner's style. So it says determine whether he or she seeks intimacy and closeness. Assess how preoccupied they are with the relationship and how sensitive they are to rejection. Don't rely on one symptom or one behavior. Look for various signs. Assess his or her reaction to effective communication. And listen and look for what he or she is not saying or doing. Again, this book, I'm just reading you little tiny snippets. This book is so important to go and pick up a copy of because, or even like audiobook, whatever. It's very, very important for the sheer fact that if you don't know your attachment style or you're having struggles dating and you are like, just having so much trouble. You're not finding the right person. Nothing seems like it's connecting. Like you've gone through so many guys or so many girls or so many non-binary people, and you're just really having struggles dating, and you just cannot fathom why you're not finding somebody to date. Make sure your attachment styles line up. It is so important because it might make or break you guys. Honestly, especially if one person is anxious and one person is avoidant. I promise you it's not going to work because that anxious person will seek closeness and will use protest behavior to do it. And that will scare away the avoidant person because that closeness, they don't want it. They are afraid of it. Not that they don't want it. We all want closeness, but avoidant people are almost afraid of it, and they're like afraid to let people in. And they fear that being dependent on someone takes away their independence. Again, it's not just surface level at that. You are going to realize that there are many, many layers to an attachment style. There are many layers to an insecure attachment style. And it's not what it is at the surface. It's not that they are running away from this closeness. Like they could fear that they don't deserve it, or they have always had people leave them and that's all they know. They haven't seen a secure relationship. Maybe their parents divorced, whatever the case may be. They didn't have, a secure attachment with their parents. Whatever the case may be, you're going to have so many reasons for your attachment style that it doesn't boil down to just one simple thing. That's why you have to look for various kind of signs, because you never truly know what somebody is going through or why they may or may not have a certain attachment style or why they are acting the way that they do. All right. So let me get into this last part here because my voice is honestly dying and I really I'm trying, you guys. I wanted this to be one of my best episodes because I have so much to say, but I'm honestly struggling. And I I literally have an ice bag for my forehead because it's hot and then it's cold and then it's hot. And I have tissues and water and coffee because I'm just, ugh. Um, I'm gonna reiterate and go through kind of the last part because I think it's important to talk about the secure attachment style a little bit more. And um, I really, really, really strongly suggest you pick up the book. Um, it is literally only, let me see, I think it's like 250 pages. Depending on if you want to read that blog or not. It is, okay, 267 pages, but some of them are like questions and like a workshop. So let's go to 257. So somewhere between 250 and 300 pages, if you will. It's really not a long book, and it gives you insight. And the reason why I'm pushing this book so much is because it's really hard to explain this in a podcast. I have truly never been good at reading comprehension. Like, I always will read something, and then in school when I had to write an essay about it or anything like that, I would do so terrible at it. So I don't know why I thought podcasting on books every couple episodes would be a smart idea. But I also just really kind of wanted to do it because I figured it would give me some motivation. I want to read 12 books this year. So, one book a month, basically. And this was my January book, the attached book. And then my February book is the 101 essays. So I have that one to read, and I'm really excited for that one because I'm literally just going to be reading you guys essays. Like, it's so silly, but some of these essays are really, really deep into a level that I did not imagine. But anyway, back to reiterating, um, someone with a secure attachment style has important skills and qualities that influence every aspect of the relationship, such as they can handle conflict well and they don't feel the need to act defensively or punish their partner in an argument. They are mentally flexible and are not threatened by criticism. They are effective communicators and are able to express their feelings freely and accurately to their partner naturally. They don't play games as they want closeness and believe that others want the same. They are comfortable with closeness and are unconcerned about boundaries and do what comes natural. So they don't even think about the boundaries. They are quick to forgive as they assume their partner's intentions are good. So it's not that they excuse bad behavior, but it's they assume that their partner's intentions are good. So if it's some simple mistake, they're going to say, "Hey, I forgive you. It's okay. Like, I know you didn't mean it." People with secure attachment styles are also inclined to view sex and emotional intimacy as one item and do not feel the need to create a distance by separating the two. I find this one very, very interesting because a lot of people, I think, tend to separate emotional intimacy and sex and not really connect the two. Um, I don't know if this is a lesbian thing, but I feel like I definitely attach emotional intimacy to sex because it's like you're connecting with your partner. Um, so that's why I guess I find that interesting because I feel like I used to separate it. So it's kind of just nice to know that that's a secure thing to connect those two things. People with a secure attachment style treat their partner like royalty with love and respect. They are secure in their power to improve the relationship, and they expect others to be responsible and loving towards them, and are therefore responsive to other people's needs, specifically their partners. So basically, the reason why I love this, and the more that I read this, the more that I realize that Larissa definitely is a lot more secure than I am. And also, she might be a little anxious. Whereas I feel like I definitely tested that way, but I feel like I might have some avoidant tendencies to me and less secure tendencies. Like, I always feel like I want to be responsive to somebody's needs, but she just goes out of her way, and truly like puts me before her, like in a way that I'm like baffled by. Um, so that's why when I read this book, I was like, wow, I'm really dating somebody with a secure attachment style. And it's amazing because she craves closeness and she communicates that she wants that closeness. Um, so it's really nice because in the book, it actually said that if you have an insecure attachment style, you should be dating somebody with a secure attachment style because um, they're able to love you so freely, and it changes your view of relationships. And I am really convinced that after taking time for myself, um, not only that, but taking time for myself and being single, I really thought I had it all together and thought that my attachment style was all fixed. But with her, I'm starting to realize that I still struggle with certain things. So it's really, really nice just to be like, hey, like, maybe I do have still some insecure habits that I need to break and get into. So it's just nice because I feel like I'm definitely working towards a more secure attachment style. It's definitely going to take some time and I'm not there yet, but I can really say that I've had many mistakes with relationships and different attachment styles, and I definitely feel like I was avoidant in my attachment style, and I still have those tendencies, but I definitely feel like I'm getting better with it and wanting to communicate and wanting to stay and wanting to fix things and not just leaving or blowing up um, to end an argument or like just cut things off. So um, this book has definitely changed my view. And if you are looking to date, or if you're struggling with the person you're dating, or you really just want more insight, definitely pick up the book. Again, it's called Attached. The author is Dr. Amir Levine and Miss Rachel S.F. Heller. That is going to be all for today because I'm really struggling with my voice here. And I really just want to edit this and get this going and maybe go love up on my girlfriend and maybe give her dog a hug. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And I will see you next time on Many Mistakes Ago.